Morning, folks. Councilman Rasmussen here, coming to you with my update from our council meeting last night on Monday, April 1st. Fortunately, no good April Fool's jokes in my life, so that's a good thing and a bad thing. Start off with a couple of the regular updates, and then jump into sort of what was covered on the meeting. So, a few things for folks to make sure. Obviously, I say this all the time. If you're not signed up for our Thursday Town Tidbits, make sure you get signed up for it, because honestly, it's where a lot of the information comes out from. Some of the big things that are coming up. So one thing to note is a lot of folks know that our town manager, Sheldon Hudson, resigned about 2 weeks ago. Last week we formally placed Police Chief Tori James into an interim role. So that was in the Town Tidbits. Tori's obviously been with our town for a very long time. A resident, grew up here. He has stepped into this role before, and he agreed to step in again and help shepherd the town through until we can figure out the hiring process and sort of what we want to do to formally get a permanent town manager. So if you see Tori around, he's now wearing two hats, both the police chief and the town manager hat for a little while here. The couple of things coming up on the schedule. It is election season for town council members. The Meet the Candidates night is on April 8th, so a week from yesterday, 6 to 8 p.m. at Town Hall. If you're interested in meeting the candidates that are running for council positions, please come out, see them, learn a little bit about what they're sort of all about. One of the big things we get asked about is the spring cleanup. So that is our once a year sort of cleanup, where we're going to be going around. Our garbage guys are out there picking up bigger items, things that are left on the curb, sort of making sure that the town has got the opportunity to get rid of some of the stuff that won't fit in your garbage can. So make sure you head out and put some of those things out there for our spring cleanup. That's starting now, and it's running through it's March 15th or April 15th through April 26th. So start getting ready for the things that you want to get put out there. Those are the major updates that were on our list of things. The actual day, if you are interested in voting in the election, so you can there's voting registration going on at Town Hall. You can head down there and you can register to vote there if you're not already signed up for it. A few other little things like that are going on. We do have a couple of folks we're hiring for our police department. You can pass that along. Actually, I'll say a little bit more about that in just a minute. So those are some of the basic updates from the Town Tidbits. As far as our meeting last night, so we actually started off the meeting. Mayor Johnson started off by reading a statement about the town budget and the tax increase. So I figured I'm actually going to read that statement. So if you didn't get a chance to hear him give it last night, you'll get a chance to hear the whole thing right now. So this is, I'm going to be reading, so I won't be looking at the thing for a second. So, the town is failing to deliver on the fundamental promise of opportunity to all citizens. We are facing a budget deficit of between $2 and $3 million. We needed to acknowledge the failure of the town, the approach of the town has taken in the face of these challenges, and try to forge a new path forward. The town council has diligently sought to avoid raising property taxes, even though the town has tripled in size. Unfortunately, good intentions can sometimes have hidden costs. While the town council has minimized tax increases for years, the town utilized all available revenue resources, including one-time revenues like transfer taxes and impact fees, along with large transfers from the water and electric funds to fund our general operations. This depleted resources for capital improvements and infrastructure maintenance. These short-term solutions have led to long-term consequences, which have been compounded by increased operating costs due, in part, to inflation and labor shortages. In order to stop subsidizing the operating budget with funding sources necessary for long-term capital needs, a decision was made to double the town's property tax rate from 47 cents to 94 cents so the town can begin to pay operating expenses with operating revenue and dedicate utility and one-time funds to our growing capital needs. Each member of the town council pays property taxes and understands the impact of tax increases on citizens. The town council did not make this decision lightly or quickly, knowing this increase will personally impact all citizens and businesses in our community. But unless the town wants to face unsustainable debt, giving up our utilities and police protection to third-party providers, and compromises to the level of service we can provide citizens, this increase is vital. The town council is confident this increase will better position the town to meet both the short and long-term needs of our community while creating financial stability that has been lacking in recent years. It is a pleasure for the town council to serve the citizens of Smyrna and are committed to making the difficult decisions necessary for the welfare and future success of our community. It's a little bit long, but it sort of sums up a little bit of the thoughts on obviously the process by which we went through to go through the budget, to identify those holes that have been there for a long time, and then ultimately make the hard choice to change how we operate, to do things very, very differently than we have done in the past. It can be kind of easy to just plug holes and fill gaps. The really, really hard decision that was in front of us was, do we fundamentally change how we operate and budget for this community? And knowing that if we didn't do it soon, we would find ourselves in a position where we were out of options, where we wouldn't be able to make some of the choices that we could make at the moment. So it was, we certainly had some folks, a lot of us have heard from people in the last week or so with concerns about how, the tax rate, the impact it'll have on people. I think that there's a lot of valid concerns there. Unfortunately, it comes down to the financial stability and ability for the town to offer or to operate. And ultimately, that decision had to be made. Wish it was someone else who had to make it, but that is kind of, I guess, why we're here. If everything was good and easy, everyone would want this job. So if there's obviously any more questions, I know that there's a letter that's being drafted that's going to be sent out to everybody in town. There's also trying to figure out ways to have some public public presentation or things like that. Try and get word out as much as we can. Fully recognizing most people won't read it. Most people won't show up. A lot of people will turn and complain on Facebook who don't contribute or don't come to any of the meetings and wonder what happened. But I hope that there are people out there who, pay attention, who've been watching this, who listen, who want to try and share some factual information, share kind of why this happened. And obviously, as council members, it's our job to jump in and help answer those questions as needed. So that was the update that the mayor read last night. As far as some other things on our agenda, a little bit more fun stuff. We had some swearing-ins last night. We have 3 new police officers who were joined our team. 1 from Newcastle County, 2 from Dover PD. They are hitting the road. Either they hit the road in the last 2 weeks, or one of them's first day was yesterday. So we had an opportunity to both meet and in one case swear in one of those officers. And we also had 2 officer promotions that were done last night. So new faces in our community. Our police department is obviously one of the most visible parts of our community. People know and get to see our police department, hopefully in mostly good circumstances, heading around town. So if you're out there and you know folks, say hello to the new officers, make them feel welcome here. We also had the swearing in for an additional election board member. I think at this point, I think 1 more member needs to be technically sworn in for the upcoming election. As far as business items on the agenda, it was actually a really, really quick agenda. So as old business items, the only action item we had was the 3rd reading of the ordinance that makes some changes to how we do our vacant property fees to establish that those go to our slum clearance and redevelopment authority. Most ordinances have to take 3 readings. So this was the 3rd and final reading, meaning that this now officially goes into effect. On the new business side, there was really only one major item that was there. Actually, I guess there were two. There were 2 items. Real quick. One of the big things that we have to do every single year is officially do the approve the tax assessments. These are the assessed values of the homes that the Smyrna uses. The system hasn't been updated since 2006, but these are the numbers that we then base our tax rate on. But every year we have to approve the tax assessments as well as the lists of organizations or entities that may have some sort of tax relief associated. So like schools, churches, nonprofits, they can apply and have their property tax waived. There are also the senior tax exemption that we do. I've talked about that before, where people living on fixed incomes over a certain age can apply to have a percentage of the assessed value waived on their home to help keep their taxes a little bit more balanced. It's a formality. We have to approve that, and then we also have to approve a hearing, meaning that anybody who has seen a change to their assessment, their town assessment. This is not the county. Anyone who's seen a change to their town assessment has the opportunity to come and ask questions and see if they can get that fixed. I know, last year I've gotten to serve on the board that does this. Usually most of the questions just really come in because people don't understand that there is an assessed value and then there's a tax, and they see the assessed value and the tax and they think the change is the same. So a lot of times it's just communicating. Our staff actually manages to do a lot of that, but we'll have an opportunity for folks to come in. Over the course of the year, there's, I think, 150, 200 properties that see some sort of a change to their assessment. Most of those are when a new home is built. The property used to be vacant land and now it's got a home on it and the taxes definitely changed. But if you did something like added a deck or a sunroom or a pool or something like that, it may impact the assessed value of your home. And ultimately, some folks wonder about that. They wonder sort of how that plays out. We got a few questions. So the hearing for that will be on May 6th. I believe at 6 p.m. we'll do a hearing. I'll probably be on the board to hear those appeals again. And then we'll have the final approved list that we do after that if there are any changes that are made from it. I think last year there were none. The year before there were none. It's not a lot of folks show up and ask for changes for it. So we did that. We did the formal approval for that and set the date for that hearing. We have an electric contract that we needed to approve. For every contract that of a certain size, we go out for bid for it, and ultimately then we get presented with the best option, the choice from our town staff. So we approved a contract as part of our North Duck Creek electrical extension. It's for a couple $100,000. I forget the exact amount. And then there was a discussion around creating a process where individual council members can grant proclamations, so that there's a way that if a council member wants to grant a proclamation for somebody's time in service or a retirement or things like that, they have the ability to do so. Our state representatives do this a lot. They'll often show up to an event and they have official proclamations that they are signed. There's some rules about what they can and can't do in order to grant a proclamation. And there's just interest from some of our council members in creating a system like that by which they can grant proclamations for some of the organizations that are working in our town or individuals, things like that. So there'll be more conversation because we need to establish some guidelines. You can't grant a proclamation because somebody cut their grass, right? But it's something that's just a nice to do for the community that some of the council members want the ability to streamline a little bit. So we'll talk more about that and eventually create a process by which that would be. That was really the crux of the agenda for last night. It was relatively straightforward and fast. I think we were out of there in an hour. So a nice quick meeting. Been a while since we had one of those. So our next town council meeting is going to be on Monday, April 15th. So you can come out and see more on that. Obviously the town election is the big thing that's coming up. That will be on Tuesday, April 30th. And then those council members will be officially sworn in on Wednesday, May 8th, we'll have a special organizational meeting, is what we call it, when any new council members are sworn in. So all that stuff's coming up. You will hopefully in the next couple of weeks be getting a letter sort of about the tax change. You'll also have the opportunity, obviously, to appeal your assessment if for some reason your assessment has changed and you'd like to appeal it. All of that sort of information is going to be going out to people in the next couple of weeks, so you'll be seeing lots about that. There have been, so we got a nice update from the town staff on some of things that are ongoing. One of the things that we're still dealing with is updating old water meters and electric meters. There's still about 400 older water meters and 50 older electric meters in town. So we're making a renewed push to get those changed out, because those require either manually reading, and sometimes the bills are estimated. So there's some things like that. Actually, a good thing is the new bathrooms in the park are open. They were open as of yesterday, so that's wonderful. I haven't gone over to see them yet, but I did see them when they're being installed. So if you're in the George Wright Park, check out the new bathrooms, I guess. So more things to come, but thank you, everybody. Obviously, if you have any questions, please reach out. Let me know. I'm happy to sit down and try and do our best to explain any of the tax and budget stuff to people as they hear about it, if you've got questions. I did want to note, somebody mentioned this to me. So the town does not officially monitor the Smyrna Clayton residence page. Somebody said that they had posted up on the residence page and they wanted the town to get back to them, and the town never got back to them. It is not something that the town controls. It is not something that the town monitors or responds to. So please, if you actually have a comment or you need something, reach out directly to either a council person or directly to the town staff. Posting it up on Facebook is not a good way to get a timely response. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful, rainy Tuesday. Take care.